Why do you think black people sold black people into the slave trade? They weren't thinking. They weren't thinking. Oh, they're black. I shouldn't. They're thinking, let me get this bag.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not. I'm sorry. Don't clip me. Don't clip me.
Yeah. When. Oh God.
Because they had.
And she knew, even with her token black puppet friend up there, that she was still talking some BS because, oh, don't clip me, guys. Don't clip me. Don't clip me. Too late, honey boo boo child. You done got clipped up.
Boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. I gotta tell you guys, we are really living in upside down world, okay? Because we have Kamala Harris here engaging in an act of full-blown racism. Yes, Kamala Harris engaging in racism. Now, what do I mean? What am I talking about? Well, what I'm talking about is a reference to some drama that has happened, okay, involving my YouTube channel. Because, as you guys know, I've been going back and forth with some of the guys in the Black manosphere about just pearly things, okay, because apparently she's racist, okay, and one of the reasons why he said that she was racist is because she stated facts about the history of slavery, okay, about the fact that Africans, okay, African man sold slaves, okay, the ancestors of Black Americans here today, right, sold them to the white man, and apparently her acknowledging this fact makes her racist, okay. But here we have Kamala Harris, who is visiting Ghana, okay? She's in Africa, and she is choking up during a speech in which she is exposing the horrors of what all these black folks, okay, these African slaves went through before they were sold to the white man. Now, again, if just pearly things is racist for acknowledging facts, Kamala Harris here, it must be engaged in full-blown white supremacy, right? This is white supremacist talk, okay? According to some of these folks out here, okay? And I find this to be fascinating, absolutely fascinating, because this comes as she's in Africa trying to lecture them about so-called LGBTQ rights, okay? Human rights, okay? This is how they frame it. And some African folks aren't happy with that. They don't like the fact that Kamala is trying to lecture them on how to run their country, okay? So I believe that, I don't know, man, I'm just saying, I just believe here that maybe, just maybe, Kamala is, you know, giving this speech, maybe she's exposing some of the horrors that these countries engaged in, okay, to the ancestors of Black Americans, maybe as a little jab at them for refusing to get along with the woke LGBTQ agenda. So, I mean, hey, you know, I'm not sure exactly what's going on here, but it is a sight to behold, okay, as Kamala Harris talks about how bad the Africans treated the African slaves before they sold them to the white man. So, I actually want to react to it because this is actually one of Kamala Harris's better speeches. Might be the best one she ever gave.
So being here was immensely powerful and moving. When we think about how human beings were treated by the hundreds of thousands,
if not millions,
place that we now stand, the crimes that happened here,
crimes, right? These were crimes. I want you to understand how bad this was, because apparently it was so bad that Kamala's choking up, which I mean is pretty normal, par for the course when it comes to Kamala. She chokes on a lot of things, but I'm just saying, Kamala Harris family, I believe on her father's side, were slave owners, okay, back in the past. Now, is she going to apologize for her slave holding family? Okay. Of course not, because that's D for different, right? That's different. But I'm just saying, there's a whole lot of irony going on here.
The blood that was shed here. There are dungeons here.
Dungeons.
Where human beings were kept. Men, women, and children. They were kidnapped from their homes. They were transported hundreds of miles from their homes, not really sure where they were headed, and they came to this place of horror. Some to die, many to starve and be tortured, women to be raped, before they were then forcibly taken on a journey thousands of miles from their home to be sold by so-called merchants and taken to the Americas, to the Caribbean, to be an enslaved people. We don't know the numbers who died on their way to this place, the numbers who were killed during that passage on the Atlantic. The horror of what happened here must always be remembered.
Too bad we don't teach about it in school, right? Again, you know, the problem is that, see, Kamala seems shocked. It seems like she never heard this before. She didn't know about all this, right? It's almost like one of her advisors came up to her and said, hey, Kamala, you know, these people not on board with the LGBTQ. So here we gonna do. We gonna expose them for their past on slavery, right? You know the role these people had in enslaving black folks, right? We gonna expose them, okay? And she was like, what do you mean? They had slaves, they raped them, they tortured them, they snatched them from their homes. All this was done before the white man was involved? Get out of here, I didn't know that. Right? See, again, this is a story they don't tell. Apparently telling this story makes you racist. Right? Acknowledging these facts makes you racist. Kamala Harris, it's not embellishing, right? This is what happened, right? Because remember, can't embellish. Right? If you say slavery was embellished, apparently that's racist as well too. But this part right here is not. This is the real story, okay? That they don't want to tell people. They don't want to talk about it. Sounds to me like a lot of people, a lot of black Americans should be going over there to the Ghana coast, okay, asking for the reparations, because without the Africans, the African leaders, okay, who were trading slaves, their people, for guns so they can go fight other Africans, by the way, right, they can go kill all the black folks. Black folks, not nearly as many of them, would have been slaves in America. But again, you don't hear the woke revolutionaries talking about this and say, hey, man, you know, these people owe us. Okay? They owe us. But what you do here is a narrative, you know, from woke professors, okay, woke academics, so-called academics, race hustlers, where they try to pretend like there was no evil in the world until the white man came along and tried to colonize it. Right? These black folks, these Africans in Africa, they weren't fighting each other. Okay, they weren't, you know, killing each other and doing horrible stuff to each other. Only the white man did that. Only the white man can commit such atrocities. When you had the Arab man committing these atrocities, which is probably a part of the story that she's telling here. The Arab man, you know, you had the African man. Again, you had, you know, again, the white man doing it. Everybody was doing it. Everybody was doing it. Horrible, terrible. But to pretend like this is only something that was done by the white man and it's the white man's sin alone is just, that's an embellishment, right? That's what we're talking about. We're talking about slavery being embellished. This story right here should be told more, okay? Well, why is that? Because you're telling the whole story. So the people that want the reparations, that want to get paid, hey, you know exactly where to go. You know, hey, a lot of these African countries, they got a lot of resources. You got a lot of resources, okay? Now, they might be exploited, but they got a lot of resources. So I'm just saying, I'm pretty sure that some of these African countries can come up with the reparations that's owed to black Americans for this atrocity. United States is broke, right? I mean, we're like, what, 30 some $1 trillion in debt. Not as sure exactly where we're going to get the money. Unless you want us to go pillage Africa for it, right? Then in that case, hey, I guess you can make, a case that might be justified. But I'm just saying, this is what happened. And it's sad that this story is not told more. But despite this story, black people in America have much better lives than they otherwise would have had if we were still in Africa anyways. And you got people here that want to act like America is such a terrible place. It's the worst thing ever. It's the worst thing that ever happened to black folks. When this is what was happening to so-called black people back in Africa. And it's still happening. The atrocities are still happening to black folks in Africa. This is why the wokes don't want to go. This is why they want to stay here. And then they want to talk about, hey, nothing good ever came from interactions between the white man and the black man, which is an insult to mixed race people. But, it seems to me like your life, the people who are able to go online and to make that statement in the first place, seem like, hey, that's a result of interactions between the black man and the white man. Black Americans seem like we kind of turned out on top, right? What a lot of these people don't realize is that, the reason why our ancestors were sold into slavery in the first place is because they was at the bottom of society, right? Our tribe wasn't at the top. That's why we were enslaved, got conquered, okay? White man brought us over here to the United States. Yeah, he treated us bad. He treated us terribly, okay? But hey, at least the white man was civilized enough to say, hey, you know what? Maybe we should try to make progress on this issue. Hasn't been perfect, but I'm just saying there's no better place on earth to be black than America. But you got people still complaining. You got people still playing victim, want to pretend like, oh, everything is so bad, woe is me. When, again, black folks went from this, okay, to you have a black man, Barack Obama, half black, let's be accurate here, became the leader of the country. But people still want to act like America's such a terrible place for black folks. So terrible, so bad. And that the white man is solely responsible. I don't know, man. I'm just saying. I think there's some 4D chess going on here with Kamala Harris and why she's actually doing this. But I got to say, this is probably one of the best speeches that she's given that I've heard from her. And it's not the typical word salad, okay? She's actually been very descriptive about what happened. And this is a story that should be told more, and people should be more educated on this because I think that it will actually allow us to have a real conversation about slavery since people love talking about it so much. So, hey, let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a black conservative perspective. Peace.